Man, what a game we had on Monday night. Of course, Casey joining me. Lamar is a faker joining me as well. Adam. Um, Browns versus the Ravens. What was it? 47-42 is what the score ended up being. Browns had to do a little hook and ladder type deal at the end, which was the most nervous 2 seconds I think I ever had, especially when I literally watched the Dolphins do it against the Patriots a couple of years ago. But crazy game. Um, it looked like somebody I watched somebody on YouTube and they were talking about I think it was Joe Nubo I think, but he was like, this is the Ravens season right now, and I like in this game, and I don't know if he meant like this was for the Ravens season or like if this game literally told the entire tale of Ravens season in 60 minutes, because not only did you have the highs that you've had this season, you had the lows you had this season, you had the defense not playing like they should at times this season, you had the defense making great plays this season, you had the defense not finishing as you've seen this season. But one thing that we haven't seen much of and was amazing to see from my perspective as a Ravens fan was the 2 minute offense to get the game winning field goal. Um, the Browns, I mean, Lamar was out for two straight possessions. It was a two possession game at that time, and everybody's like, "Where's Lamar? Where's Lamar?" And then he was out for two straight possessions, and the Browns just torched the defense both of those possessions. And I told Adam before that I feel like I don't care what anybody says. This is way before the game and everything, but Baker torches the Ravens defense every time he plays them. No matter how good the Ravens defense is, Baker just knows how to find those windows against the Ravens defense, and the blitz doesn't really affect him. I mean, he made that one bad pick, but other than that, I mean, I thought he played pretty darn well. Um, but yeah, Lamar was out for two straight possessions. The Browns capitalized on those possessions being pretty much nothing,
And
and then
taking acting classes in that short time frame.
I to be honest, I got a feeling it was diarrhea. I know it sounds crazy, but like everybody was making like the pooping jokes on and the Paul Pierce jokes on Twitter, but I like there's no way that he had cramps that bad. I think it was diarrhea coming from COVID that he just got over not too long ago. That's what I'm thinking. If I had to have, because if there's anybody watching this game that was like, oh God, Lamar's not in the game. Trace is in the game. Lamar's not in the game. Okay, it's a second possession. Lamar's not in the game. Okay, this drive is to win the game. Lamar's not in the game. Why? Like Lamar is not Jay Cutler, where he's gonna be like, "Yep, I'm done with this game." We're up two possessions. I didn't feel like he was gonna necessarily sail on the game like that, but yeah, I mean it was crazy, and the timing of it was ridiculous. I think Trace, I hope not, but it looked like he may have tore up his knee uh, on that third down play, and then Lamar comes in, throws the pass to Hollywood, and of course you guys respond with a drive that made our defense look like they always look, with all that money that they spend on the defensive end, and and then they just fold like that, and then the 2 minute drive, which I haven't seen much of as a Ravens fan with Lamar, because it's either blowouts or it's either really close losses. Um, but I mean, I hate like I hate to say that I don't think I was necessarily impressed by this game, but at the same time, I wonder what this game would have been if Lamar never went out too, because it was what, for a 14-point game at the time. It felt like all the momentum was on Baltimore's side, but then of course Cleveland having to play the team that's in front of them, and of course it's the same defense, and friggin' I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but 33 for our corners was getting abused every single play. Baker was eating him up. Like I mean, it was late dinner for Baker out there. I just feel like I feel like I was impressed by this win, but at the same I was impressed by this win for reasons that we haven't really seen this happen before in a Ravens game with Lamar Jackson. But at the same time, I was a little disappointed. I was disappointed that the defense didn't hold on to the two possession lead. I was disappointed that the defense didn't hold on to the one possession lead. And but at the same time, I was impressed by the 2 minute offense of the Ravens. I wasn't impressed by Hollywood Brown dropping the ball over and over again. but he made the biggest catch when he needed to make the biggest catch. So I can be upset, but at the same time, I can see there's still like potential there. I mean, overall, amazing game, game of the year. But at the same time, like it's also like even to win that game, it's still frustrating because you still see things where you're like that. I mean, I think that could have been one of those, as we talked about before, convincing wins. But then of course Lamar goes out. You can't control that, but the defense still has to hold their own. But I mean, really great game. Like I said, I think it had to be some sort of bowel issue for Lamar. The way he wasn't even running like he was ready to uh, to run. I think it had to be like I don't know. I mean, of course, I haven't listened to the post game interview. I think he'll probably admit whatever it was. But at the same time, like I don't know, like what a game, crazy game, best Monday Night Football game I think we've had in a very long time. And it seems like when the Browns play the Ravens on Monday Night Football, it's always a classic, and it always comes down to the end. But my last point before of course, let Adam air his grievances, or maybe air his Browns pride because that was a heck of a game to play. The Browns proved tonight that they are most certainly a part of the AFC North. And I'm talking about like after years and years of everybody beating up on the Browns and saying the Browns are just a blah 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 game. Of course, the teams in the AFC North knew the Brown not yeah the AFC North knew the Browns are a good football team. Even if they might be 0-16, but they're gonna play us tough regardless. We knew we had to bring our lunch pails and go to work. And tonight, I think was that game. It was a game where people said if the Browns win this game, they prove something. But even in losing this game, they proved something to me. They proved that they are for real, and I think other people should feel the same way. But go ahead, Adam.
No, so going into this game, we knew that we were going to get Baltimore's best shot because despite what had happened the last couple of weeks, you know, the only thing that was kind of irritating to me was through the week they said that the Ravens had gotten right by beating Dallas. I'm like you beat fucking Dallas. That's and even then there were still question marks coming out of that game. But I did not anticipate the high scoring affair that took place. And yes, this was the game of the week. This was the game of the year, bar none, bar none.
This one's gonna go down in history for real, definitely.
For real. I mean, not to mention what was that? 89 points scored in fucking 30-degree weather. That's insane. And you might be onto something on the drizzling shits that was possibly
That's what we call it.
diarrhea situation because if you saw the way he ran out of the locker room with that little shuffle, and if I had to hear Greasy do or I don't know if it was him or Leaves, but I think it actually might have been Levy with the dun dun dun. I was gonna toss my TV, but this obviously I'm disappointed, but it does not outweigh my feelings of you've proven you have closed the gap and are part of the AFC North, like you just said. You've proven the one thing that a lot of pundits and various other personalities out there was, can the Browns chase a game? And they did it twice. From a 14-point deficit, you had just given up that heartbreaker because I can't even really be mad because with the benefit of hindsight, it's like, yes, why were you playing the run option? But what else did you expect was going to happen on that play? That he was going to try to outrun the linebackers in the corner, get around the edge because it was, what was it, 4th and 4, 4th and 5, and they strung him out of the pocket, and that left Hollywood wide open. Um, it sucks because you figured have somebody over the top. It also didn't help that Vernon and Mitchell ran into each other and that broke free. Also earlier in the game, Lamar did his best Carson Wentz impression to Mark Andrews, which that really this game comes down to a couple things. That play might have solidified the game for the Browns if they don't let that happen, because that was third and whatever. They had contained Lamar. He runs around into the pocket, and I'm thinking like God, somebody's going to get him, or somebody downfield is going to get the pass deflected or something, because everything. Riddick even said it. The Browns did everything right on that play, except obviously the result, because you can only hold your blocks for so long. But really, this game comes down to the missed field goal and the missed extra point from Parkey, and I'm not gonna harp on him too much, just because I think he's been pretty solid this year, but I just don't want what happened to him in Chicago, and unfortunately, we had a little bit of that syndrome, especially when he shanked that one to the left for the field goal. That was very eerie. I was waiting for the doink, but I loved the fire, love the fight. They didn't quit, because I thought when Baker threw that interception and then they scored, I thought the game was done. But he came back immediately and Kareem scored, and I said, okay, now we're back in the game. And he gets that awesome fourth down conversion to Hollywood Higgins after Peter slipped, which I thought that was our best defense all night, was the turf, getting everybody slipping.
Yeah. The turf was it because it was so cold, it like made it almost icy?
Well, no, because in that instance they cut the turf, they cut it down so thin, and I'm sure there was a little bit of moisture, but either way, I mean that's December football. But I mean, again, still 89 points. That's incredible. The interception from Baker, I wish it wasn't. I wish they would have done some runs there. And yes, this is all hindsight. And I know, because Greasy and Riddick brought it up, I really do think he saw the defender of the Ravens shield out for that pass. I think he thought he could zip it in there. But either way, if you're going to make that throw, it's got to be more towards the sideline. So you either get a completion or it's out of bounds.
Well, he was throwing at a pass rusher too, so he may have seen, Bowser's a pass rusher, he won't catch this.
Right.
And Bowser has maybe earned Matt Judon's payday as well as he's been playing. Like it didn't feel like the pass rush was really getting there. I felt like Baker had all day in this game. There were a couple times they were close, they were almost right there. But it's not enough, and even when you're blitzing, you're not getting there. So it's like I'd rather you not get there and have the coverage than blitz and have nobody. It's
well they were playing a lot of zone and blitzing the hell out of Baker. I mean, again, early on he got a couple of hits. Like one was a double whammy, 2 flags. One was hands to the face and roughing the passer. So again, Judon smacked Baker. I wouldn't have called that. That was the other thing about this game. It was way too flag happy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, this is, God damn it, this is football.
It was that in the what was the other one? A pass interference that was a little iffy. I mean, that one was very iffy. The Jimmy Smith pass interference was almost borderline ridiculous. I was so sick.
Yeah, but they got away with one later on, because I don't know who was guarding Higgins. His arm was right on his bicep.
Yeah, it was 33, the same guy that they were abusing all night.
Yeah, which again, you get a mismatch, you fucking exploit it. But But Baker made some great throws. I mean, that 36-yarder to Donovan off his back foot, it's still taking a shot. That pass to Kareem, um, where they got it down to the 5-yard line. I mean, so he had a monster game again. The interception, it wasn't going to last forever. Him, having so many games in a row, not throwing a pick. It was just I didn't want it to be in that situation. Um, I don't think it's as egregious as some people may make it out to be. I mean, like it was a great play by Bowser.
I think you were right though when you said the Browns. I think when you said the Browns proved some things tonight, proved some doubters wrong tonight. I think the Ravens did the same thing, playing against a good team, a good defense with a lot of talent on it. Um, they got the 2 minute drive that they couldn't get. Lamar made big throws when he needed to. He missed two of them. You remember, the two back to back where he had literally
Airfield.
touchdowns, and he sailed them. But I mean, which happens. I mean, that people, quarterbacks miss throws. Uh, but he made up for it, especially in that 2 minute in the 2 minute drive and the 4th and 2. No, 4th and 5. I don't know why I want to say 4th and 2. The 2 minute drive and that 4th and 2, he definitely made up for it, in that, made some really solid throws. I mean, like I said, I was impressed, just in general. I mean, I've always felt like he could do it, but at the same time, you know, one thing that I hated, there was two things I hated. One thing I hated was on the 3rd and 18. If you're gonna run the ball and get 4 yards, why not take the shot and just punt it afterwards? I'll never the Ravens tend to run the ball on 3rd and long, like third and really really long, like eternity. Instead of taking a shot and trying to get a flag, or taking a shot and trying to do something, throwing it to your big body guy and trying to get something out of it, like they got like he underthrew one to who's it, Boykin, I think, and ended up drawing the flag. No, it was Hollywood, which was good because I mean we haven't had a flag drawn on us all year long, a defensive pass interference call, so that was nice to see. I mean, the other thing was the defense, man. The defense frustrates me so much. I mean, like it gives me like deja vu every time we're up, or either we're up or it's tied. I'm just like, oh goodness, here we go. Because I mean, they're good in spurts, and it felt like at some point we were going to get a fumble too, as much as the Browns were putting it on the ground early. But I mean, it felt like it was like deja vu. I'm watching the Chiefs game again when we need one more stop and Patrick Mahomes, closes the door on us. When we need one more stop against the Chargers a couple of years ago, when we need one more stop against the Titans when we're trying to rear back, when we need we need one more stop against the Patriots. Like all of these, like I've seen it time and time again. I've seen it time and time again, and it's like, oh, and then it definitely, like, I mean, I don't know how you. I'm sure you were pretty like, just stay in the locker room all night. But like when Lamar's not out there and Trace has got to kind of do it himself. Now he had the pass that was tipped by Olivier Vernon, I think it was, and then he had the drop from Hollywood that would have easily been a first down. Which I mean, those weren't bad plays. But I mean, when Lamar's not out there, man, it's just like, ugh,
Well,
I
that, that
mean,
that situation, I said you have to get a 3-and-out, because you get a 3-and-out, I'm like this game's done. That's why that third down to Boykin, or not Boykin, Sneed, that was crucial. I was like, fuck, because and Mitchell, and it was a perfect mismatch because Sneed's is bigger than he was, but I was almost wanting Mitchell to try to knock that ball loose, because that would have ended it right there. And who knows if they would have went for it? I don't know, because that's when it was 35-34. But yeah, I mean, and the defense. I mean, like they sacked Lamar 4 times in the first half, and then they hardly touched him again after that.
well,
Uh,
there were some that probably should have been sacks, but just the athleticism of Lamar paid off.
yeah, then like I said, the Wentz throw to Mark Andrews, one that bothered me, just because again they had him bottled up, And even when he curled back to the center of the pocket, I'm like someone's that's got to be again one of those coverage sacks, whatever though. And he slipped away and just throws a duck. And again, I can't fault the defense there. It's just you can only hold your blocks downfield for so long. The Cleveland was physical, which I did like, especially after Lamar gashed him on that first drive into the half or into the second half. I know Joe Woods probably ate them alive, saying like, "Hey, you fucking better not get bullied again like that," because Lamar made him look silly on a couple of those RPO runs. Still, Miles was banged up, and I'm not using that as an excuse because he was out for a few plays when he got probably had a little bit of hyperextension on his elbow. So it wasn't as effective. But again, double team, triple team. Richardson had a good night. Vernon was playing out of his mind.
Well, I mean, looking at the Jayon Brown injury that happened a couple of weeks ago, you're glad that it wasn't worse than what than it was. When you see Jayon Brown hyperextend his elbow and he's done for the year, so it was good to see Miles come back in.
Yeah, and it was like friendly. I think Greasy said it was like friendly fire because it was either Joseph or somebody came roaring in and hit him directly in that spot. So it's just one of those fluky things. No, but either way, it was a great game of the year. I'm extremely disappointed. This doesn't kill the Brown season, and that was the thing. This was more of a must-win for Baltimore. So I said you were going to get their best because if they lost this game, they were more likely going to be out of the playoffs. Now, from here on out, because the schedule, this was their last difficult game. You can pencil in my opinion, 11 and whatever it would be, 11-5.
Right.
At Jags,
Giants.
Bungles, and I can't.
The Giants are in there too.
Yeah, so I mean, it's and really I would say the Giants is not a just pencil that as a win the way they were playing, but then they got shellacked yesterday against Arizona. But now this next 2-game stretch are not must wins, but you got to take care of business. You're the better team. It's a term I always say. Act accordingly.
Yeah.
You're better than the Giants. The defense is playing pretty good, but you're better than the Giants. The Jets don't want to win, so I don't want to use the term, oh, it's a buy or a gimme, but that's another way. You just take care of business. The game that I have circled from here on out is that fucking last game against the Steelers, which they have proven. They have proven the last 2 weeks that they are vulnerable, they are beatable, they are not the world beaters that we thought they were the first 11 weeks. Eric Ebron or Chase Claypool losing, never heard of her. Well, guess what, fucker? It happened twice in a row. One against Washington, and you got bullied. You got bullied that second half against the Bills. Yep. Josh Allen was Razor Ramona to them, just carving them up.
Yeah. So, real quick, Casey, did you get a chance to watch the game? Do you have any thoughts on the game? I know we kind of went on our own little tangents, of course, and of course we'll talk about all the rest of the games too, coming up on the picks a little bit later this week.
See, I feel like we should split up the picks and the discussion. Just because we talked so much about the games the previous week. Just a thought.
Probably, yeah, we probably should.
Well, really, what it boils down to, and this is not a slight on Casey or Justin, is that me and DJ are going to have the analysis viewpoint. Like me and him could do that. I mean, if anybody wants to jump on, by all means. But like me and him more have a in-depth analysis, whatever, as opposed to when we do picks where we try to cram everything in the same segment. But no, yeah, that could be something to do. Do strictly the picks and then a discussion the second time around.
You got anything to say
Agreed.
about the game, Casey? Real quick, I got one more point, and then I'm gonna try to keep it under 30 minutes. It won't happen, but
I mean, well, what do we got? We got 25-12. We want to keep it under 30 minutes, so I got like what, 20, 25 more minutes to talk? Okay, so we're gonna slow this down. We had the Brown. No, I was too focused on certain groups of people crying today.
well, you missed a good one, brother. Real quick,
I know what he's talking
I
about
mean,
too.
did you watch the games the other day? Like, did you watch some of the other games? This whole week was like, this whole
This week it
season,
was
I
pretty
don't
bad.
understand. I don't at all.
um, real quick, like I'm probably gonna say this a lot of times before the end of the season, but Ravens, play your game. I don't care about passing stats. I don't care about passing touchdowns. Finish your drives, play your game, and you'll be good. That's all I'm gonna say. Because I mean, you were doing your thing up until, of course, Lamar went out. You were running the ball, feeling good. I wish Lamar wouldn't have been a faker and went out, or caught the drizzling, as you say. But I'm just glad I was a little concerned because he was out for so long that it was something even more so serious. But if it was just, if it was diarrhea, goodness. But anyway,
By the way, Bob Menery has already had a lovely play-by-play of the lateral safety play already. Jesus fucking Christ! He throws it behind him.
I have to watch it. I definitely have to watch it.
No, don't worry. I'm tagging you guys in it now.
But definitely, this will do it for our quick thoughts. We'll have picks coming up a little bit later on in the week, of course. So be on the lookout for that. Definitely hope you guys enjoyed. Other than that, you always can listen to us on Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, etc., etc. You can, of course, watch us on Facebook and YouTube if you want to as well. If you want to see us, see our pretty faces. But nonetheless, definitely hope you guys enjoyed. And until next time, we'll see you.